Hi there and welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, lesson 28, in this lesson we are going to draw the interior of the pub. We've been having a lot of fun with this scene and I think let's keep the fun going. So what I want to do is I want to use the crop tool to extend this part of the scene so that we have a little bit more room for the interior of the pub. Okay, so we've got some artifacts of previous overdrawing. I'm not going to be too concerned about that. So you can see here there's a bit of mess. We are going to cover most of that with the interior of the pub, and then we can later on fix up the roof as well. Right, so I want to disable all of these cards that's in front of the pub for the moment. So let's have a look. Right, so and then the next thing we want to do is we want to enable our isometric grid. I'm going to move this up, right up to the very top. Okay, so the easiest way to start off with the pub is to start with the floor space. And let's create a new layer for that. And I'm just going to call this rough. And then I want to move it up a little bit so we can get through the door and we have some thickness to our walls as well. So that would be the thickness of our walls. Right, so we want to see where the next story of our building starts so that we know we've got another floor in there. So we need to have a floor here, another floor that goes above the bottom floor. So we've got something going like this. Oops. Right. Okay, let's make that fully opaque again. Right, so now we have the door here. So this is our entrance, and then that's going to be the back wall. And maybe we start the counter, the pub's counter, about there. And about that high. Taking it to the back. Maybe not all the way to the back. To around there. Right. And then that's the width of the counter and something like that. Right, so that's the counter. Now maybe we want another upper story as well, so that we can climb stairs to another level. And maybe this upper story is not the whole floor, maybe just this. Let's make it, let's take it to about there. So that's the upper story. And maybe we have the stairs going up from here. So maybe we have a landing here as well. Not so that we don't make the stairs too steep. So the stairs will be around here. No. Let's make the landing about here. And then maybe the stairs go, yeah, I think that will work. To there, and then we have another land, basically the stairs leading up towards the first landing. Okay, there we go. So we've got a ramp going up here, and maybe that ramp's not steep enough. Okay, yeah, I think that will work. Right, so when you start drawing stuff in isometric, don't start off with the actual object. Start with blocking in, using simple shapes like blocks and cylinders to create the assets that you want to create for your scene. Okay, I mean, maybe let's divide that in half, 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 and I think that's enough stairs. So this part needs to come out. So because we won't see the stairs, we're looking at it from the side, so we won't see that. And then maybe we have another wooden structure in here. And another leg for the stairs, like so. And then we have this, a leg in here, and another leg that supports the upper story. Right, and then we could have beams that support this as well. Right, I'll clean this up, make it a little bit nicer and pretty, and the thickness of the floor as well. So I'm going to make this slightly thicker, the floor. Right, and then let's clean that up. That's a bit messy. And then we will need a table or two or counters. Maybe we have a table in here. Now remember, when we draw cylindrical objects, we want to use our block or square. So this table is going to stand next to this pillar, and then we divide that in half and half from corner to corner, half, and then using that as a guideline, we draw our circle. Maybe I want to make the circle slightly bigger, so using the lasso tool, I'm going to make a selection of the circle, then Control T to make that bigger. I'm going to grab one corner, and while holding Shift, Alt and Shift, I can make that slightly bigger. So the thing is, you have to grab the corner first, then Shift and Alt will scale it proportionally. Alright, maybe slightly higher. And then we need chairs as well. Okay, the chair is going to stand there. Draw as if you can see through stuff. Okay. Now remember, we said that chairs are basically just a cube at the bottom and an extension for the back piece. And the same here. So let's leave that chair because we can copy that chair and just paste it over. Let's draw another chair, this time facing towards us. cube, cube, cube. I'm working very rough. Right. So we've got that chair. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to build an asset for that and flip it around. I'm going to use that, put it at the back of the table, flip it around for that chair. And then the table needs to come down, and maybe we have that crossed leg type of table. Something like that. Right, we'll get to that. Then in the pub, what is a pub without some liquor? So we need to create shelves where we have liquor. So let's start off with a shelf going up here and going to the back. And right, and then maybe another shelf in there, going all the way to the floor, and then the front edge of the shelves. Right. Maybe another shelf in there. Right, and then the spot on the counter, and then right, and then right, that's fine, and that's fine. Right, so, and then we need some bottles there as well. So each of the movable assets is going to be on its own layer, like bottles, for instance. I'm going to create a few variations of bottles, and I'm going to put each on its own layer. So we've got a bottle like that, and maybe we have a bottle like that, and maybe we have bottles that does that. Okay, and maybe we have another bottle that looks something like this. Right, and of course we will need beer mugs as well. Right, and maybe a beer mug that's facing in the other direction with a handle facing in the other direction. Okay. Right, so, and then we can duplicate the chair and table for the upper floor as well. Maybe we make the upper floor just a little bit wider there. And of course we will need a barrel or two, so we can draw a barrel or two. Maybe put a barrel in here. Now remember, we do have a cart full of barrels. Oh, I merged that together. Very clever of me to merge all of that together. Never mind. So always a good exercise or practice to draw barrels, even if you wanted to reuse assets. Sometimes you just have to redraw it. Okay, and then remember that lid is sunken in there, and we will need to show the thickness of each of the planks. So we've got that going, we've got a barrel, we've got the tables, we've got chairs leading up to the upper floor. Maybe we want smaller stairs in here as well, smaller steps. Right. Right, so we'll get to that a little bit later. Now we've got barrels in here, we've got a whole slew of bottles and beer mugs, and maybe we will also need a candle or two, a candle holder, because this is an old style pub with candles and lanterns. So the candles for the tables, and maybe we've got lanterns for the pub, the bar area. Right, so we'll get to that. But this is basically a rough drawing of what we want. What else? What else do you get in a pub? I think that's it. Let's start with the drawing. So that's our rough. I'm gonna disable that. Maybe we can make this slightly lighter. So I'm just gonna add another fill layer. Make that white. Okay. Okay, and then just reduce the opacity. So this will help me see my rough drawing clearly while still having the background in place so that I can draw that as well. Right, oh yeah, I think the next step is to start the drawing. So I'm going to add a new layer. Let's call this, instead of adding a layer, just a paint layer, I'm going to add a fill layer, make it black. And let's call that interior drawing. Now the magic with this is I can press Ctrl I to invert the color, and then using my black and white. So press D on the keyboard to reset the colors to black and white for both background and foreground. Now if you paint with black, it's going to erase, and if you paint with white, it's going to add. All right, so let's start off with the top part. So everything that's in front needs to be drawn first, and then everything that's behind that and behind that. So you work from what's right in front to the background. So let's start with that. Right, so we want to create the illusion that we have made a cutout of or the inside of our building. So we want to create the illusion of seeing a bit of bricks as well. So I think let's create a bit of brokenness in here. So we want to cut the wall there. Or maybe we don't cut the wall just there. So we create a bit of a line in there. Maybe this needs to go all the way to the back. How shall we do that? I think I made a mistake in here. So let's put that there. Then bring this forward. Right, and then right, so I think that should be fine. All right, so just want to create the illusion of or create planks for a plank floor, a wooden floor. Right, I think we also need to draw in where the pub starts and ends. So it ends around there. Okay, and that part we can't see, so that's fine. All right, so I think I'm happy with that for the pub interior. So let's, right, so what we want to do next is we want to make sure that the roof part is also going to be cut away. So let's imagine that we still have a bit of the roof in here. So I'm going to follow that line. And we are going to create a mask. Oh no, what we can do is we can paint over this. So let's cut this away in here. All right, so that's the back wall of the upper floor. And we can, so this is going to be part of the roof, and then we want to create the illusion that it's been cut out from the roof. So let's create some thickness to the roof. It's just an illusion, so we're not going to make this too realistic or perfect. We just want to show that we are looking inside the pub. Something like that. So this is the back wall. All right, and then yeah, I'm happy with that. So let's create a fill layer for every little part in here. Let's start with the stairs and the upper floor. I'm going to make that a different color. And using my lasso tool, I'm going to make a selection of the stairs and each of its parts. Right, so far so good. So let's start off with, let's start drawing all of the smaller assets like the barrel and all of the other stuff like the um, bottles, lanterns, and that sort of thing. I'm going to keep each on its own layer just to make it separate so that I can move it around, duplicate it, flip it around. So keep each of that separate on its own layer. Because this is drawing isometric and not painting isometric or any other sort of tutorial, it's basically just drawing isometric. I'm going to veer off the track a little bit, just explaining how to give a hint of shading to your glass bottles. So you can see that I've got a base color, so I filled the whole bottle with one single color. Then I make it slightly darker and start adding elements of the glass, making it slightly darker at the edges, not all the way up to the edges, but just close to the edge, giving that look of what's the word for that now? Giving it that look of index refraction. So right, and then press D on the keyboard to start doing the outlines. And then press I to invert the color to give the bottle its highlight. So just a suggestion, it's not heavy detail or heavy realistic, just give a hint of the look and feel of a glass bottle. All right, so it looks like we've got everything in place. So let's decorate this whole scene now. We've got the table, so what we could do is just duplicate the table and chairs, put it upstairs, and duplicate that once again and move it around. Let's select that chair and move it behind the table. Oops. And it just needs to go behind the layer of that table. No, let's put it behind that layer. So let's pull the chair out a little bit. And if you want this chair to be on this side, just duplicate it, Control T and flip it around like so. And if you want that chair to stand on that side of the table, just duplicate it and flip it around. But let's move everything forward a little bit, like so. Maybe that chair as well. And we can arrange things a little bit better here as well. Maybe we put that chair in the background. Right, I think that looks good. Right, and let's arrange stuff here as well. Right, that's good. Let's duplicate that, Control T and flip it horizontally. Move it over. All right, so now you can see it stands too close to the pillar maybe. So let's bring everything forward. Like so. And we can duplicate that, move it to the background, maybe put it down there. Or maybe, yeah, let's put it there, under the stairs. That's good. That looks good. So now let's duplicate the bottles. Let's move that up. Right, so I think that looks fairly good. So you'll see that we've got elements that's not necessary. So let's remove that one or move it into another spot, like for instance there. We want to make sure that this one doesn't overlap anyone else. So let's move him down. Okay, no, too much. Too far away. Right. And now we can select each of those. So I'm happy with that to stay there. So I'm just gonna use my eraser to make sure it's below the others. So I'm going to do that for everything now. So just to make sure that it sits in the shaft. Okay, and then we need to make sure that that lamp is also behind the top part of the floor. Like there, and then we'll get to those. Let's erase that. All right, so we can do this better by grouping all of this together now as a single layer. So I'm gonna, all right, so what I want to do is I just want to make sure the barrels are right at the top, because I'm gonna do that as a separate group. So let's select all of this and put it into a group. And let's call this tables and bottles. All right, let's create a mask, transparency mask. Make sure that you've got the layer selected. Make sure black is selected, and then we can erase with black where we don't want it. And if we accidentally paint too much or erase too much, just press X on the keyboard to bring it back again. So we're painting on a mask. Black hides and white reveals. So that way it's non-destructive. We can come back and move that table and make sure that we repaint the mask so that it doesn't disappear or vanish from the scene. Right. So that's fairly simple and easy to do. You can see now it fits into the scene, and I can still move stuff. So I can maybe pull that chair over to here. I can put it up right up to the table, but let's put it so that we see a little bit more of the chair. Let's move the barrels. I want to duplicate that barrel, maybe put it on top of those so that we have a stack there. Duplicate it yet again, and maybe we put the barrel below the stairs, and maybe we have another one below the stairs and another one below the stairs. So utilize the space to its maximum. All right, again. All right, let's select that barrel, duplicate that, and maybe put it there, and yet another one. Let's put a row of barrels in there. Maybe one in front of the others, and maybe we stack it a little bit there. Create a new one and put it on the upper floor. Right, I think that should do it. So let's select all the barrels and put that into a single group. And then do the same, create a transparency mask, and we need to erase where we don't want it. So make sure that you've got the transparency mask selected, and with black, paint away that, unless why is that not working? So let's delete that. Make sure that we've got the group selected and add a transparency mask. Let's see if it works now. Oh yes. Right, so now we just erase where it's not needed. Right, I'm just want to shade the interior, so I just want to add a bit of shading to the counter and the top floor and the bookshelf. The wine shelf, and create a bit of shading underneath everything, and then we should be good to go. Right, so now that we have everything together, let's disable the where did we put the force? So let's put that off. I'm looking for the grid layer. There we go. Right, so let's put everything here. I've placed just a simple full color just to get rid of the mess we've made in the background. Right, so let's put all of that together and call this pub interior. Right, so, and that's how we do the pub interior. Okay, let's put that outside maybe. Pub interior. So if we disable that, we get the front of the building back again, and if we put interior back on, we get the interior. We could also, by selecting that layer and creating a transparency mask, invert that mask, and then creating a circle. So let's make a circle. We could invert that. And then by dragging the circle around, we can look inside the building. So almost like an X-ray, we can see inside the building. But we will need to extend the mask, so you can see the mask is not working entirely correctly. Let's use that. Then the fill, and make sure that we've got black selected. There we go. Now if we drag the mask around, we still got that. So what do we have to do? So let's make a selection there. Okay, and make another selection here, the bottom. Now if we drag that circle around, we can have a look inside the pub. If we want to have the entire pub visible, all we need to do is just disable the mask. And then we can see the entire pub. And if we want to see the exterior again, we can disable it there. I think a nice touch to this, I'm going to delete that mask. And by selecting the pub interior, I'm going to add another mask, transparency mask. This time I want to reveal the crate in front. So that we can still see the crate that is on the outside of the building in front. So obscuring the view of the building in front. Okay. So I think that concludes it for this lesson. I hope you learned something new and that you can utilize this method of drawing on top of your drawing, but creating the illusion that you're looking inside of your building. So creating an X-ray vision of your building. Right, so I think what we have learned in this lesson was to start off with the floor, the walls, then creating whatever assets you want to do next, like the big assets, stairs, the next floor, your counter and that sort of thing, and then creating each of the other assets like tables, barrels, bottles on its own layer, then dragging that into its own layer or grouping them together and using the transparency mask to delete where other stuff is obscuring the view from that. So have fun drawing your interiors, and I hope you enjoy it very, very much. I like drawing this, and so should you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.